The value of domestic work in the Netherlands. Have you ever wondered why paid domestic work is so important and even more for a country like the Netherlands? In this video, we will show you what some Latin American domestic workers think about the value of their work in this country. The Netherlands has not ratified the Convention number 189 of the International Labour Organization, which states that domestic workers must have the same labor rights as any other worker. The regulation of domestic work consists of several exceptions to the civil and public Dutch law obligations imposed on employers. This research asked domestic workers to describe the value of their work. Well, the results were very interesting. Domestic workers said the value of their work is organized in different levels and dimensions. The first level is the use of their wage. With this money, they can afford subsistence for themselves and their families back home. However, the value is defined beyond monetary benefits. This non-monetary value calls for recognition. If this value starts to be named, domestic workers can have access to higher wages, paid leaves, and regulation of the activities they do. Domestic work is a very demanding job. It requires emotional and physical work. As Cecilia describes it, domestic work is very hard, and when you do it many times, it takes a toll on your body. Unfortunately, this is not acknowledged, and for domestic workers, the physical and emotional pain is a way their work is undervalued. Ana Celia explains the value of her work for employers, saying, "We are a fundamental piece because when they hire you here, it's because they don't have time to do anything, or they don't like it." Domestic work has an immaterial value. It provides accompaniment, affection, and emotional support. It also has a material dimension that allows workers to have functional spaces. These two dimensions intersect and demonstrate that domestic work sustains the daily needs of vulnerable and interdependent beings. And who are the ones who are doing this fundamental work? Lucia says, "The one who takes out the dirt here is the foreigner. The foreigner does the things that they don't want to do." Again, domestic work is undervalued. The last level is the value for society. The first dimension is the environmental dimension, and the last one, which brings together the previous ones, will be called essential chain work. Without domestic work, the economy and people's lives in general would be affected. This is explained very well by Alicia when she says, "People who have children would not be able to go to work. That would affect them economically and socially, because if teachers don't go to work, it's a mess. If doctors don't go to work, it's a mess. So it would be a big problem. If someone doesn't help someone who is sick, it would be a mess." From what I saw in my work, if it was a month or more without domestic workers, it would be chaos. Unfortunately, domestic workers said it is an invisible job for many in this country, and even more so when it is carried out by undocumented populations. Then, what can we do about it? Recognize that domestic work, it what sustains life, and even more so in a country like this. Therefore, domestic workers and this research recommend: first, have an official and regular statistical register of the people doing this work and their working conditions. Second, recognize as part of employers' obligations the occupational hazards of this work. Third, review the migration regulation of domestic workers and prioritize the type of work they do. Fourth, make visible the multiple dimensions of the value of domestic work. And of course, ratify ILO Convention 189 on decent work for domestic workers. We must always remember that domestic workers are the ones who make it possible for the rest of society to function.